I'm a blessed man, having you in my life.
In several movies, he's played the heartthrob, but some may say that Jude Law is more of a heartbreaker. The star is now happily married, co-parenting 6 kids with 4 women. But before settling down, Law's romantic entanglements made scandalous headlines practically every night. Before the divorce from his first wife, Sadie Frost, was finalized, he was allegedly dating his Alfie co-star Sienna Miller. They eventually got together, which led to one of the more infamous cheating scandals in Hollywood history. Buckle up as we delve into the details of the couple's relationship and the womanizing life of the handsome Brit.
Passion, drama, ferocity, humor.
Including wife swapping and a time he seduced a woman on a school car park. In the 2004 Alfie remake, Sienna Miller plays the chic, spirited Nikki, who gets her heart broken by Jude Law's womanizing Alfie. After the actors met on the film set and got swept up in a whirlwind of seemingly blissful real-life romance, however, it became clear that Miller's and Law's lives were imitating their art. The same year, Law had undergone an abrupt and messy divorce from his first wife, Sadie Frost. For a time, Sienna and Jude were London's golden couple, and things were smooth sailing. They were happy to show off just how in love they were in public, and within months, the pair were engaged. Law, then 31, proposed to Miller, then 22, with a big cluster diamond ring on Christmas Day, and their romantic relationship simply dominated the pop culture conversation. But the romance came crashing down when Sienna and the rest of the world discovered that Jude was sleeping with his children's nanny behind her back. As a result, the engagement screeched to a halt, completely altering the course of their relationship. More than 15 years later, Miller still can't shake the dark feelings from that period of her life. The scandal changed her forever.
Probably the hardest thing you can imagine and the hardest thing for humans to go through.
As if the realization of her fiancé's infidelity wasn't bad enough, the news also broke right as she was starring in a West End production of As You Like It in the role of Celia. Her stage debut, a moment that should have been the most exciting time in her career, was severely tainted by scandal. Instead of focusing on her play entirely, the young actor had to face the paparazzi day in and day out. It was one of the most challenging moments in her life. With that level of heartbreak at such a young age, to have to get out of a bed, let alone stand in front of 800 people every night, it's just the last thing you want to do. There's a whole 6 weeks of that experience that she doesn't remember. People came to see her, they had dinner, but Miller has no recollection of it. I was in so much shock over it all, but if you get through that, you feel like you can get through anything. The nanny, Daisy Wright, sold her story to the Sunday Mirror, leaving pretty much nothing to the imagination. She did not hold back in that interview, sharing intimate details about how the two were in the bedroom, ripping off each other's clothes, and Jude was a masterful lover who made my whole body tingle. One of the most excruciating details was that one of the actor's children had found the pair in bed together. Poor kid. Jude, who hates anything to do with the press, was forced to come clean about the affair and released a humbling public apology to Miller.
Don't know exactly how to say it.
Sure you do, Alfie. You've had plenty of experience dumping girls.
Following the reports in today's papers, I just want to say I am deeply ashamed and upset that I've hurt Sienna and the people most close to us, he said. The negative media attention combined with the emotional exhaustion of dealing with the fallout of a public breakup was almost too much to bear. It was also at the height of all the paparazzi madness in London. Quote, where there was an epidemic of bad behavior, they knew where I would be every night. Beyond being betrayed by Law, Miller was hounded by people who were obsessed with exploiting her personal life and perpetuating a narrative of Sienna as a party girl. There were moments where it came close to making her feel crazy, as it was incredibly aggressive. Miller chose to fight back against the endless barrage of paparazzi trailing her by filing lawsuits, attempting to change British law.
I do live in London where at a certain point that kind of attention was just really aggressive, like nowhere else.
The actor recorded them using a camera the size of a cigarette lighter. She brought a Privacy Act to court, which ultimately led to enacting laws that protect her privacy in the UK. It was a long battle, and I think I was really paranoid, Miller said of the experience. There was so much noise that it was hard to think straight and focus on my work. I look back on it and wonder how I did get through it, but I did. Not only did she get through it, but she has changed laws and thus protected others in the process. Ironically, she found solace in the arms of a married man. After she and Law briefly reunited before splitting again in 2008, Miller started dating actor Balthazar Getty, then married to fashion designer Rosetta Getty. Although the affair was humiliating for Rosetta, the Gettys reconciled 2 years later, with Balthazar saying, "I loved and missed my family too much not to make it work." He might have gone back together with his wife, but for Jude, that was the point of no return. He and Sienna briefly rekindled their romance not long after and called it quits for good in February 2011. However, this was not the first or last time the actor's messy and scandalous private life made headlines and undermined his work. When he should have been basking in the glory of the Best Actor Oscar nomination for his role in the film Cold Mountain, something else stole the limelight. His ugly breakup with wife Sadie. Police were called on several occasions to calm down their fights, and false allegations of an affair with co-star Nicole Kidman overpowered his work immediately. Not long after that, it was revealed that he and Sadie had engaged in wife-swapping with their friends, musicians Pearl Lowe and Danny Goffey.
It throws all angles, all attributes of relationships, going in and coming out of relationships, very openly, very honestly, very maturely.
The first swap reportedly happened after Sadie performed a striptease and suggested they exchange partners. After spending the night together, Danny and Sadie and Jude and Pearl had more sessions, but thought their swinging would end after the holiday. However, the sessions reportedly restarted, renewing Jude's fascination with Pearl. The woman claimed Law became obsessed with her. Allegedly, that was the reason Jude and Sadie's marriage imploded. Always regarded as a womanizer, Law usually detests being known as the pretty boy of cinema, preferring to think of himself as a proper thespian. He hates being seen as a celebrity and followed by photographers, and is upset that people do not concentrate on his art. Once, Jude attempted to present himself as the biggest celebrity do-gooder since Angelina Jolie, promoting nothing less than world peace with the documentary he made with human rights advocate Jeremy Gilley. He described how he was in tears after he met Afghan girls defying the odds by educating themselves. But despite his best efforts, scandal appears to have a way of pursuing him. A day after Law talked seriously at the Cannes Film Festival about the film, it was revealed he had enjoyed a steamy night with Rod Stewart's daughter, Kimberly. The details were hectic. After a pub dinner with Kimberly's father, Rod, and his wife, Penny Lancaster, the pair went to a trendy Essex night spot, Club 195. Although the club's bouncers tried to stop fans from taking photos of the enamored couple, the salty pics have emerged, showing Jude and Kimberly in a graphically passionate embrace. Jude was said to be mortified about the way news of his latest romance has emerged. He is really upset and annoyed, particularly as all he wants to be doing now is promoting his documentary, said a source close to the actor. He's had his parents ringing up from their house in France, wondering what is going on, and his ex-wife Sadie was terrified that someone would show their children one of the pictures. When I saw him earlier this week, he seemed really angry, and the first thing he said was, "Don't even mention it to me, I don't want to discuss it." Jude said this embarrassment was as bad as when it was revealed he was cheating on Sienna with the nanny. And before he finally settled down with his now wife Philippa Cohn and his 6th child, Jude wooed a woman on a school run and then broke her heart, making headlines once again. The British star swept Rachel Bollier off her feet by stepping out in front of her car. The actor waved Rachel down, chatted her up through the window, and asked the stunned mom for her phone number in true Alfie style. It was crazy, but I gave him my number and he texted me seconds later saying, "This is my number, Jude." It was the beginning of a year-long romance, only to drive her to heartbreak. Single mom Rachel said she fell deeply in love with him, and it was as though they were in another world together. Her son didn't want anyone to know about them, for people at his school to say, "Your mom is with Jude Law," because his reputation wasn't great, to say the least. Friends also warned her about the actor's reputation, but the passion was so strong that she was determined to give things a go. During the relationship, the French TV presenter said she helped the notorious womanizer cope with discovering that he had fathered yet another child with a young singer. And he comforted her through the grief of losing a cousin in the Charlie Hebdo massacre in Paris. "I thought it was destiny. He did too. Because of how he got me through that time, I can never blame him. We had a very big, deep connection, and I thought at this age of our lives, this was incredible. It was all over for Rachel and Jude when she read in the papers that he was seeing his now wife, Philippa. Can you imagine how she must have felt at that moment? In September 2020, Jude and Philippa welcomed a baby, extending his family once again. Law has 3 children with ex-wife Sadie Frost, a daughter with model Samantha Burke, and another daughter with singer Catherine Harding. Jude Law and Sienna Miller both have moved on since the cheating scandal. And despite his messy trail of tabloid headlines, Law has continued to enjoy success in showbiz, and all parties seem to have put the past behind them. Looking back at that time in her life, Sienna Miller seems to regret only being known as a tabloid fixture because of Jude Law's affair, instead of as an actor. I fell in love with someone very famous, and that became the story. I had an amazing time, but it would have been nice if that hadn't happened before I was known for something else. She is currently single and shares a daughter with an ex, actor Tom Sturridge. And that's all we have for you today, Juicers. As always, thanks for choosing us. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell for more spicy stories on celebrity couples. And we'll be right back.